So in the wake of the Aaron Rodgers injury that we all witnessed on Monday Night Football against the Buffalo Bills, only playing 4 snaps before rupturing his Achilles, hasn't stopped people speculating which direction the Jets may go for a quarterback position. The team said they are committed to Zach Wilson being the starter, though I doubt that, and probably many other people doubt that as well. So many people are kind of reaching from all directions of which quarterback they can get, whether it's from free agency, trade, or trying to lure a quarterback out of retirement. I will be listing my 3 options right now to make it fair. I picked one from each category: free agency, trade, and retired. I picked up 3 options who I think be the best fit for the New York Jets. So getting into that right now, as you see on screen, these are my 3 options. So starting up from top to bottom, free agency, I do have Matt Ryan. And of course, for other ones, you have Colin Kaepernick, who was listed immediately after the injury, Cam Newton, Carson Wentz, Nick Foles, and a couple other ones. But I think Matt Ryan is the best one, has the most experience, definitely has taken his team to a Super Bowl for the Atlanta Falcons, and you can see that for a couple other quarterbacks as well: Nick Foles, Cam Newton, Colin Kaepernick, Joe Flacco. But I think overall, for resume-wise, Matt Ryan is the best option. I know his career didn't end well in Indianapolis, and that's definitely a smudge on his resume, though I can't put all the blame on him. I think overall the team was just bad. It was a horrible team that year. Same way to Jonathan Taylor. When people kind of try and knock Jonathan Taylor for having a down year last year, it's not all his fault. The whole team was just bad. You look at the coaching, Frank Reich, and you had Jeff Saturday, who never had any coaching experience whatsoever, step in as the head coach for part of the season. It was an ugly situation. I don't put all that on Matt Ryan, though he deserves some blame for it being the quarterback, especially in that position. Didn't play too well. Even the later years of the Falcons, especially a few years after the Super Bowl in 2016, didn't play as best as maybe he could have. Also, to the team overall as well wasn't as good as it was at that time. I still think Matt Ryan brings tons of value for this team. You look at overall for the Jets, and I'm going to keep saying this for every quarterback, the option we have. The offensive line is bad. We know that is definitely a glaring issue. But overall, the team, I think, is really built for Matt Ryan. Elite defense, great pieces around him. And once again, he has experience of leading teams to the playoffs and being in these moments, primetime games, and going far. So definitely he brings that veteran experience. Even if he isn't the starter, just to back up Zach Wilson, I think he can give him tons of knowledge, just as much as Aaron Rodgers. It doesn't fall short of that. Now, would Matt Ryan be okay with being the backup? I don't think so. I think he wants to have another shot if he wants to come back of being the starter. I think a situation I can look at for Matt Ryan is that he would probably sit a few weeks being the backup so he can learn the system and so forth. And I think eventually, whether they just decide to go to Matt Ryan or Zach Wilson is just struggling like he did last year, they would move over to that. So for trade, again, many options: Jameis Winston, Mason Rudolph, Cooper Rush. A lot of good amount of names out there. I have Jacoby Brissett as this one. Maybe someone that hasn't been talked about. To me, I think he's been underappreciated as a quarterback. He definitely has one of the better experiences for a backup. No doubt probably the best one is Jameis Winston just being a starter for a while, especially for his first few years in Tampa, and then a brief time with New Orleans, unfortunately, because of injury ended that. But Jacoby Brissett, I think, is a solid quarterback, one of the best backup quarterbacks in there, and a solid starter at that. I think you can point to last year with the Browns. With his success, definitely came in an ugly situation. The whole Jameis Winston situation being, or not Jameis Winston, sorry, Deshaun Watson missing the first 11 games of the year. I think overall he did a solid job. Now you could put some of the blame on it because of some of the games they fell short late at the end. I know at the very least for the Jets, they had a lead late in the game and they blew it. It was a double-digit lead. So I guess that some of that blame could be put on Jacoby Brissett. You could say just unlucky or unfortunate, but I think overall he put the Browns in a situation every single game to win it. And I think that is definitely something the Jets are looking for. I think right now, if you compare to Jacoby Brissett to Zach Wilson, even though Zach Wilson is more gifted athletically and obviously being younger, I would still give the nod to Jacoby Brissett. I think he no doubt just kind of looking to the Browns, and you can look at the first time, I think the first or second season when he started with the Colts, he did a good job with that. I think no doubt with the team around him and the offense around him, this is more enough weapons for Jacoby Brissett to steer this team to a playoff berth. Maybe it still puts him in a borderline of not making it, but I think definitely the chances go a little bit higher with Jacoby Brissett under the helm as opposed to Zach Wilson. And then finally, the obvious one we have to put for retired. Now, retired went all over the place with people saying, oh, maybe Andrew Luck, which he won because of just the whole leaving because of injury and a bad offensive line. I don't think he would come back for another bad offensive line. Drew Brees, Ben Roethlisberger, Chase Daniel, the quarterback that just retired for the Chiefs, not Chase Daniel. I forgot his name offhand. Chad Henne, that's who it was, Chad Henne. The obvious one has to be Tom Brady. Even though he stated that he has no plans of returning, I don't buy it. I think deep down he wants to come back. He wants to keep playing. I don't buy it whatsoever. And why not do it for the Jets? Why not come to a perfect situation? If people still have doubts in you for your career and you still want to prove the doubters wrong, the haters wrong, why wouldn't you want to go to New York that hasn't won a Super Bowl since the late 60s, early 70s, one of the first few Super Bowls that was played, 3 or 4 offhand. Why wouldn't you want to go there? That's been a team that's been hungry for not even just a Super Bowl run, but just a playoff berth. Had the longest drought in the NFL, spanning from the last time they made since 2010. It's been a circus since then. Again, for the whole portion of the franchise, hasn't had great success since once again when the Super Bowls first came into place. When Joe Namath won the Super Bowl over the Baltimore Colts early on. After that, you haven't had that much success. You haven't gone back to a Super Bowl since then. So what better spot would you rather go to New York City to lead this team to win a Super Bowl, and you can be the first quarterback in history to win a Super Bowl for 3 different teams, and not only that, win it for the New England Patriots, who didn't have a Super Bowl before you were there, Tampa Bay, which you let them, the first Super Bowl since all the way back to 2002, and even think about that, they haven't made the playoffs before Tom Brady. They haven't made the playoffs since the championship win in 2002. And not only that, go to New York City, that's people say is cursed and just dysfunctional, and you go to New York City to the Jets and you win a Super Bowl, that puts the icing on a cake that we already solidify of Tom Brady being the all-time GOAT, the best quarterback in the NFL ever. What better resume to say is I won a championship for 3 different teams. And I think deep down he wants to do it. I don't buy him saying that he's comfortable, he doesn't want to come back. I don't buy that. I think deep down that fire, that passion's still in him. And I think he wants to. He wants to show the NFL that he still has it. He wants to show the people that doubt him that he could still play and still win. You look at this team, once again, the offensive line, that's the glaring issue because you look at Aaron Rodgers. In the 4 snaps that he played, 3 of them he was pressured. 2 of them, I know at the very least 2 of them were sacks, and the 1 he was getting chased down. The only one that he wasn't getting pressure is when he handed the ball off to Breece Hall. So is this a situation where Tom Brady wants to deal with that? Even though you look at last year too with the Bucs, it was a bad year. They barely squeaked into the playoffs, having I think a losing record, making it in there before getting blown up by the Cowboys. The offense took a big hit. They were one of the worst teams points per game, worst teams running, even though they were still high up there for passing. It was just because of the offensive line. It fell apart. There was injuries. And there's the same situation here. Does Tom Brady want to deal with the constant pressure, the constant, trying to, the duress, the pressure of the defensive line, collapsing on him? Does he want to do that? But you look at outside of that, if you can look past that, he has great, I think a solid wide receiver group. Garrett Wilson, one of the best young wide receivers out there. Allen Lazard, Randall Cobb, Cole Hartman. Elite defense. This is a team that I think is built for Tom Brady. Again, the glaring issue is the Jets, and I think a good spot they can go to is La'el Collins, who is a free agent still, and I think they could definitely, patch a hole up in that offensive line. Doesn't fix it, but definitely helps, no doubt. Why wouldn't Tom Brady want to do this, come to this situation? Maybe and I don't really see any other options for quarterback for retired. Good. I mean, for Drew Brees, we saw the arm just wasn't good enough. Wasn't able to push the ball down the field. Ben Roethlisberger, we saw, wasn't able to push the ball down the field. It had to be quick, quick short passes. Chad Henne. I mean, if they got Chad Henne, he's not expected to be a starter. It'd be Zach Wilson. If you think you have a championship caliber team, I know it's going to be pretty awkward to have Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady on the same team. And you make it even worse for Aaron Rodgers' legacy if Tom Brady stepped in after Aaron Rodgers gets hurt and wins the Super Bowl for the Jets. Think about the pressure that would be on Rodgers the year after. But if for the Jets, if you truly believe in your heart, you have a team built to win the Super Bowl and go all the way, and you have a short window to do that, why wouldn't you want to take the chance on Tom Brady? Why wouldn't you? You have nothing to lose. this team isn't going to be here forever. You have a short window with Aaron Rodgers. We don't know how many more years he's going to play. Why wouldn't you want to take the opportunity? So I'm going to kind of wrap it here once again quickly. My 3 options once again: Matt Ryan for free agency, Jacoby Brissett for trade, and Tom Brady for retired players. Let me know your thoughts down below on the list. Do you agree with it? Was there someone else you would switch out for these guys? Let me know down below. Well, with that being said, thank you for watching. I'll see you next one.